Okay, let's take a look at this. We said we went to chapter 24, page 2, and we found that 43,560 square feet an acre, right?
Yeah.
We were going to use on average, we said we would use 1,500 because that was the average. And we said this table was already adjusted for normal efficiency, right? There we go. So we take 43,560, 1,500 square feet per hour. We're going to get 29 hours. Okay? The question asked days, right? So we were going to take 29 hours divided by 8. It's going to be 3.63 days. The chart's already been adjusted for normal efficiency, so our answer is going to be A. Okay. So what's the first thing you do when that person gets back to the job, gets back to the shop with the bulldozer? You fire it, because if it takes 4 days to do an acre of light brush with a 200 horsepower machine, that's way too long. But that's what Walker says anyway, right? So we're going to answer the way Walker says. Sometimes you use your common sense on the test. Sometimes you just say, that's what the book says, that's what I'm going with.
I'll charge 4 days and I can get it done in a day.
I like your idea. You charge 4 days, but you make sure he gets it done in a day, right? There you go.
You said 2 bulldozers.
Now you're thinking like a contractor.
One guy is just like, boom.
One guy, this is a 1-day job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. So that's our bulldozer production. Let's take a look as we go through the book. Let's take a look at page 229 at the bottom. We may have to put some fill in and compact it, and so we're going to need to know how to do that, how to calculate it and so forth. At the bottom of 229 it says in bold print, placing and compacting fills. All right. Architects and engineers are rigid in their requirements as to the manner of placing and compacting fills material. The usual specifications for this work is to put the fill in from 6 inches to 12 inches, okay, layers. And then you're going to compact each layer with some type of roller equipment like a sheep's foot roller, they call it. Now, this is one of the areas where Walker's does contradict principles and practices of commercial construction. Principles and practices says 6 inches should be the maximum thickness of a fill layer before you compact it. This book says 6 to 12. Do you do much compacting? Do you have any type of a...
It all depends on the size of the roller and the compactor you have. I mean, 6 to 12 is rule of thumb. Most people go 6 because they have a medium sized roller. But if you have a large roller and it's a vibrating roller, then you can go to 12 inches, but you never go over 12 inches. Like I say, it just all depends, and it depends on material too.
Depends on your material, depends on your roller.
Right, and if you're not using it, if you're using something that's rougher or coarser, then you got to keep it down to 6 inches.
Sure. So it's going to depend.
Common sense.
Common sense. Oh, you're using common sense out there. Oh, okay. But the bottom line is, for our purposes, for passing this test, understand this will vary from manual to manual, from reference guide to reference guide. This is one of the areas where Walker's does contradict principles and practices, and we'll see that when we get to it. Let us take a look at page 230 and 231. Well, there's a sheep's foot roller. There's what we're going to compact with. And where I want to read, what I want you to highlight, is above the table on page 230. The following table gives rates of compaction in cubic yards per hour for rolling fill. How wide is the sheep's foot roller?
5 feet.
5 feet. Okay. And it's going 2.5 miles an hour. The fill material is placed in 12-inch, it's placed in 12-inch layers. This table is based on putting the fill in 12-inch layers. And then it talks about, it reads for soils of various compaction factors. So you could have a hard, tough clay or a medium clay or what they call a loam, which is basically what I just call dirt, all right? And it's for 1 pass of the roller to 12 passes. So let me ask you this. based on what I have on the overhead, according to Walker's, what is the hourly production given the following? We're using a 5-foot wide roller, we're going 2.5 miles an hour. We're compacting hard tough clay, 70% they call it. It's gonna take us 8 passes of the roller to achieve our desired compaction. And we're putting the material in 12-inch lifts. What is our production? What is our hourly production? It's just a matter of pulling the number off the table.
What you,
214, he says. Is he right? I think he's right. Okay. The reason I think he's right is, and this is what I want you to train yourself to do, is when you're using a table, read what it says about the table above it and read a little bit below it. Above that table, it says we're using a 5-foot wide roller, right? It says we're going 2.5 miles an hour. It says we are putting our material in 12-inch lifts. Everybody with me? Everybody understand what I'm saying here, right?
Yeah.
Now, what we have to pull off the table is 8 passes. It's going to take us 8 passes to achieve our desired compaction, and we're working in hard, tough clay. So when we look at our table, it says 8 passes, hard, tough clay, 214 cubic yards per hour. Can you live with that? All right. Now here's what you have, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, on the test it and say 5 though. Instead of bigger, feet roller.
Here's what we have to be prepared to do. The guy shows up on the job site with a bigger roller. If you're using a 10-foot wide roller, what's that going to do to your production?
No.
It will double it. What if the engineer shows up, they start doing compaction tests, and he says, we're not going to be able to do 12-inch lifts. We're going to have to do it in 6-inch lifts.
Okay, you double.
What's that going to do?
Double it.
Is that going to double our production?
No.
It's going to cut it in half,
Right.
right? So what we have to be prepared to do, we got a lot of things going on in this question. We have to be prepared to adjust our number for the size of the roller and adjust our number for the height of our lift. Those may fluctuate on the test question. This table is based on a 5-foot roller and 12-inch lifts. We're going to have to adjust. There's something else. There's 2 other things you have to consider as well. Is this table adjusted for normal efficiency? It's not. If it doesn't say it's adjusted, it's not.
So you're gonna do it by 50%,
50? 83%.
83%.
50 out of 60, 83%. If they say normal efficiency, only adjust for normal efficiency if they tell you.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'm
And
thinking
the
50
question-
minutes, 50 minutes to an hour, is what I'm thinking, right?
And the question you said?
Yes. Okay. There's another thing about a sheep's foot roller, and if you've seen a sheep's foot roller on a job site, which I rarely do, the only place I've actually seen one in action is at the landfill. But apparently they do use, over in the Panhandle, they use it a lot, where they use a lot of clay. And you say you do in Key West, where you have a lot of rock and gravel and stuff like that?
Crushed limestone.
Crushed limestone, you need to compact it, okay? Well, when that machine gets to the end of its little run, the guy has to turn it around and start back again, right? Okay, so you lose something in the turns,
Right.
okay? So you have to adjust this number that you get on the table for the width of the roller, the height of your lift, normal efficiency, and what you're gonna lose in the turns. Are you with me? Can you do it? All right, let's try it. Let's say the question says that we have a 15-foot roller. We're putting our material in 9-inch lifts. We're going 2.5 miles per hour. We're in hard, tough clay. Disregard that 70%. Hard, tough clay, 70%. We're losing 10% in our turns. We have to adjust our number for normal efficiency, and 8 passes are needed to achieve the desired compaction. See if you can figure out what our hourly production is under these circumstances. You may want to hit the pause button and take a few minutes to figure this out.